Hi everybody.
Hello. Okay. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be learning about how to start a business in Canada. I don't really know how, so I'm just going to be doing some research today on it, and glad you can join me.
Welcome back. Me again, Eugene from CBS, Canadian Business and Enterprise Services. And today with a short, hopefully, topic about a very specific type of business, but many of our clients have been asking about this, especially lately. And that's, how do I start online business? How do I make sure that my operations are compliant with the law, and how to make sure that I'm doing it right, and that's why we're here to help you to do it right. So online business. First step, very simple. Online business, just as any other business, is a business, and it must be conducted under the legal provisions of the laws where you're located. We're talking about Ontario, Canada, whether federal or provincial corporation. So first step, especially for online business, don't do it as a sole proprietorship. With online business, being online, being exposed to whole world with unlimited amount of people that can approach your business, that can try to buy or sell through your business, you're exposed to the same unlimited amount of liabilities. And if you have a question, what does it mean? Go back to our channel. We have a lot of videos explaining the idea, the logic behind doing the business as a corporation, not as a sole proprietorship. So when you do it online, for sure, do it as a corporation. Limit yourself from unnecessary liabilities. Protect your assets from unnecessary lawsuits. So corporation. Now, how to start the business online? And again, we're not talking about the business aspects. I'm not a business consultant. We're speaking about legal. Most of the businesses operating online have to understand the extent of the exposure, and the fact that today being online means being in every single point in the world, not only limited to your country or to the city of your residence. That brings a lot of nuances to how you should do it. So first of all, if you'll pay attention, most of the websites, especially those bigger ones, have terms and conditions documents that usually when you approach the website first time, you will have to agree to, or they include the language that you using the website automatically means that you agree to the terms and conditions. Very important. In terms of and conditions of your website, you must define what is your website responsible for, but most importantly, what it is not is responsible for. Specifically, and very important for those websites that include forum sections where people can express their opinions, you should keep in mind that their opinions are theirs, but while they've been expressed at your website, they might become connected to you, imposing certain liabilities on you. You want to make sure that you are able to distance yourself from them. Second, defining proper liabilities for the products, especially if you sell anything through the website, especially if you allow people to sell through your website. If I place my product for sale on your website and is being sold to third party, what will stop that third party from suing you for the damages caused by my product? All these conditions should be defined in terms and conditions document, which controls the operations and the use of your website by any other third party. Second
I don't
document,
think this
again,
is
very
exactly what
prominent,
I
and
need right
that's
now.
the privacy policy. Okay, welcome back everybody. It's again me, Eugene, from Canadian Business and Enterprise Services, CBES. So before we proceed, maybe if you have more information following the review of our videos, please feel free to visit our website, www.cbes.ca. It has much more information, more detailed. You also can read through it at your free time. And now that we're done with the introduction, let's get back to the third subject in our series of educational videos. So we've spoken last time about sole proprietorship, the benefits, drawbacks of that type of business operations. Today I would like to speak about incorporation. I love incorporations. I think that's the best way to do business. I think that gives you as a entrepreneur so much freedom and flexibility for the future development that it's very hard to justify any other type of business separations, and as I said, there are very few other options. So let's start looking at incorporation, understanding what it means and how to do it right. Incorporation is a separate legal entity, technically your child for the business world. As a separate legal entity, it requires that birth process. It requires from you certain activities, certain formal responsibilities in order to establish, in order to give it the first push in the life of business operations. And to my very unfortunate surprise, many of my clients that come to us usually don't follow those steps. Many people think that by visiting a website, whether it would be federal incorporation, and in our future video we'll talk about the differences between federal and provincial incorporation, and registering your company, you've done it all. You technically didn't do anything. You just got articles of incorporation with official name if you named your company, and we'll talk about it later as well, and the number of corporation, but that's it. There are more extensive and more defined requirements for each company to follow in order to be valid, legal, future-proof corporation. One of those steps is very simple. You have to create minute books, and if you ever heard that term, minute books, I would just like to explain what it includes. It includes, first of all, bylaws. They are important. Maybe not so important at the initial stages when you're alone or you work with your wife as a family business or with your friend. But once you start growing and once you have certain tensions between partners and members of your corporation, your bylaws will define how certain decisions are made, who has authority to do certain actions and who doesn't. How do you act if I, as your partner, don't come to the meetings of the shareholders? How do you make a decision valid if I refuse to participate in the decision-making process? So that's the first group. Second group is resolutions. You have to make certain decisions to give your first breath for your corporation in this business world, such as appointing of officers, appointing of directors, deciding whether you make audit or you don't make audit for your corporation, certain additional resolutions to make your operations straightforward. And the last portion, which is very important as well, are registries. You have to have proper registers of officers, directors, and shareholders for your corporation. And the reason for that is dual. So first of all, that's the legal requirements, and you have to do it in order to comply with the law. But in addition, when and if something happens, when you have to show who's responsible for actions, when you have to work with government agencies such as in Ontario, WSAB, Worker Safety Insurance Board, or with CRA, one of the first questions that they will ask, who are the directors of a corporation? Who are the managers? You have to prove it. You have to show the documents And if you don't do that, those officials would work by the way things look. And you don't always want to do it. So if there are 3, 4, 5 people participating in the business, and one is more active while others are more of a silent partners, but they do participate in decision-making processes, if you don't have proper registration, you would be the only one who would bear the liability. With proper registrations, all 5 or 4 or whatever the number is would share those responsibility and would share those liabilities. In addition just to the legal side of who's responsible, it puts some weight to the operational side, because each of you will make decisions understanding and realizing that they would have a price at the end of the day. So in order to start a corporation, I think it's, first of all, you must do it. Second of all, it's not too expensive. It really doesn't put too much of a burden financially on you, but you have to create those documents and do them as soon as possible. By law, within a short period of time, usually 30 days, depending on which law you look at. But I would say if you already register a corporation and spend time on the website, spend another couple of hours, do those documents. If you don't know how to do them, we can help you with the whole process. So that's about the first step of incorporating. If you have more questions about those documents that every corporation requires, please leave us your comments in the comment section below. Subscribe to our videos. Next video we will talk about the differences between federal and provincial corporation, why is it important, how to do each of them, and which protection technically each of them provides you. We'll touch base on some other topics, and as we move on, I'm sure that you will get much better understanding, more detailed information about your future.
Okay, so the one thing that I learned is that you have to create minute books or bylaws. I think that sounds a bit too complicated for what I want, but it might be necessary for what I want. Also, I was doing some research last night and I did hear that it was about $800. Also, I was talking to a person that I was working with before. She has her own business and she has had her own business for about a decade at least. And she said that the cost was about, she said you should be making at least, did she say 40K per year or something? I should look into that. I want to look into the cost. So actually, I'm going to re-listen to this video again and figure out how much the cost is. I think the cost is going to be the main factor in this, because I don't want to be losing money because I registered a business that's not making money, you know? Like, it's costing me 800 or something dollars a year, but it's not even making $800 a year. I think I should first figure out that first before I go through with this.
Hi, welcome back. Again, Eugene, again, CBS, Canadian Business Enterprise Services. We continue with our series of educational, interesting, short topics relating to doing business in Canada, specifically in Ontario. And following our last video, I would like today to introduce the general concept of corporation. Why is it better to certain types of businesses? What drawbacks and benefits does it bring with it? So corporation is a separate legal entity, and as an opposite from sole proprietorship, where the business person is the business and the business is the business person, corporation creates a separate person. So technically, in the situation of a corporation, there's entrepreneur and there's corporation, and they two are separate. That creates certain drawbacks, which I don't think they're drawbacks, but they complicate the process and provide certain benefits. So from the complication side, you have to incorporate your business. It's more costly. Depending on which route you choose, it could cost between $200 to $400. Just drawbacks, which I don't think they're drawbacks, but they complicate the process and provide certain benefits. So from the complication side, you have to incorporate your business. It's more costly. Depending on which route you choose, it could cost between $200 to $400. just the government fees. That alone already overreaches the $60 of master business license if you decide to name your sole proprietorship. Second, corporation does require certain formal steps to be taken at the initial stage and every year. We'll talk about it in our future videos. Follow us, subscribe to the channel to see them. We'll talk about each of the steps, how to do them right, but corporation does require, okay? It's not that you can wake up one day and decide, okay, I'm doing a corporation. Another thing, because we're dealing with two business persons, they each have their own tax reports. So that thing provides you with both drawbacks and benefits. And if we're talking about drawbacks, you have to file two reports. You have to pay someone to prepare two tax reports, sometimes in a different time frames, because your corporation year could be different from your personal, which means you will pay twice, sometimes even more than twice, for doing the tax returns for corporation and for your personal income. That is a drawback that puts additional costs on doing business, but today they're not so significant. Initially, especially at the initial stages of business development, they could end up being just $500, $700, $800 more than sole proprietorship, which is still a lot of money, but not something that really should be a deal breaker for the decision to incorporate. On the benefit side, being separate legal entity, corporation acts independently from the entrepreneur. That means that the liabilities are being generated by the corporation. So if we'll look at the example from the previous video about the mug with the kittens, that toxic mug or breakable mug that would cause damages would be sold by a corporation, not by a sole proprietor, not by entrepreneur. And in most cases, damaged parties will be suing a corporation, which means that the corporation will have to pay. And if something goes very, very wrong and you find yourself in a very huge legal dispute with significant financial consequences, in many cases, not all of them, your private personal assets, funds, would be protected by corporation. That's one of the main reasons why most of the businesses in Canada or around the world operate through this independent legal entity. That is the main benefit that you gain, but there are many more. Additional costs on doing business, but today they're not so significant. Initially, especially at the initial stages of business development, they could end up being just $500, $700, $800 more than sole proprietorship, which is still a lot of money, but not something that really should be a deal breaker for the decision to incorporate. Proprietorship, which is still a lot of money, but not something that really should be initially, especially at the initial stages of business development, they could end up being just $500, $700, $800 more than sole proprietorship, which is that is a drawback that puts additional costs on doing business, but today they're not so significant. Initially, especially at the initial stages of business development, they could end up being just $500, $700, $800 more than sole proprietorship, which is still a lot of money, but not something that really should be a deal breaker for the decision to incorporate. On the benefit side, being separate legal entity, corporation acts independently from the entrepreneur. That means that the liabilities are being generated by the corporation. So if we'll look at the example from the previous video about the mug with the kittens, that toxic mug or breakable mug that would cause damages would be sold by a corporation, not by a sole proprietor, not by entrepreneur. And in most cases, damaged parties will be suing a corporation, which means that the corporation will have to pay. And if something goes very, very wrong, and you find yourself in a very huge legal dispute with significant financial consequences, in many cases, not all of them, your private personal assets, funds, would be protected by corporation. That's one of the main reasons why most of the businesses in Canada or around the world operate through this independent legal entity. That is the main benefit that you gain, but there are many more. So because corporation works through shares, and if structured properly, shares can give you almost unlimited options and opportunities to diversify your operations, to diversify your relations with partners. This is a much more flexible, adjustable, customizable tool for doing business. Corporation also creates more opportunity for future growth. So that's why when we talk about corporation, we look at the planning. So where do you see yourself in a year, in 2, 3, 5? Based on that, I can tell you very simple and easily, do corporation or sole proprietorship. We'll talk in our next video about the benefits of a corporation, about the meaning of flexibility, customizability of shares, capital, and additional benefits that the corporation could give to you for your future development of the business. So follow our channel, subscribe, leave your comments, like if you like. Welcome back everybody. Again, Eugene, CBS, Canadian Business and Enterprise Services. We continue our series of informational, educational videos about doing business in Canada, how to do it right. So one of the first questions I've been asked by many clients or friends of mine is, what's the difference between provincial and federal incorporation? Like, why would these two systems exist? And the answer is, I truly, honestly, don't really know. Like, I'm a lawyer by my education. I looked into the laws, I read the books, I read the guides, and my conclusion is there's no valid reason for those two systems, but each of them could provide some benefits to each of the types of operations that you might think of. I'll talk today shortly about each of them, how to do them right, and again, where to find the solutions. Let's start from provincial. Provincial registration is, as the name is, limited to the province. Does it mean that you cannot do business anywhere else? No. Does it mean that your business would exist only in that province? No. And what is the most interesting thing of that situation is that it's more expensive. It's like almost twice as expensive to do business in province of Ontario than to do it federally. Most sources that you will look for will tell you that provincial registration is better suited for companies that intend to work in one province. And while I can agree with that, I don't really see real benefit over federal, because you still can work in province of Ontario as a federal corporation. Actually, as a step of your federal incorporation, you would be asked to do the provincial registration. So benefits, not so much. Differences, I guess there are some. So for provincial corporation, another cumbersome corner of that thing is you don't have a direct access to the register. So there are third parties, authorized companies that provide you online access. You pay them for their services, so that's additional expense that you incur. And they would do it online, fast, as efficient as anyone else, of course. So benefits, not so much. Differences, I guess there are some. So for provincial corporation, another cumbersome corner of that thing is you don't have a direct access to the register. So they're third parties, authorized companies that provide you online access. You pay them for their services, so that's additional expense that you incur. And they would do it online, fast, as efficient as anyone else, of course, but still, why? No one knows. You can register your company as a numbered company, both provincially and federally, and as a named. And actually, let's leave it for the next video. We'll talk about the difference between numbered and named company and why someone should choose this or other. If you register provincial corporation with a name, theoretically it will provide you protection only in the province of the registration. So if we talk about Ontario Corporation seemingly provides protection only for the name in Ontario. My experience shows that if you would like to register corporation federally with the same name as an Ontario corporation, you won't be able to do that. Probably also in the other provinces, I don't know. Ontario Corporation seemingly provides protection only for the name in Ontario. My experience shows that if you would like to register corporation federally with the same name as an Ontario corporation, you won't be able to do that. Probably also in the other provinces, I don't know. But again, that's a very limited benefit or drawback. On the opposite side, there's a federal incorporation. Federal incorporation provides you corporation registered federally. Again, the benefit, it's cheaper. I don't know why, but to register a corporation on the federal level costs you $200 as an opposite to $350 provincially. Nuance, which is a name search, would cost you $13 on the federal versus $50 on provincial levels. No explanation. So you can end up with $50. Nuance, which is a name search, would cost you $13 on the federal versus $50 on provincial. Why? But to register a corporation on the federal level costs you $200 as an opposite to $350 provincially. Nuance, which is a name search, would cost you $13 on the federal versus $50 on provincial levels. No explanation. So you can end up with almost twice the difference in the price. Federally registered named corporation does provide you better protection for the name, because then it gets registered technically all over the country, and no one else can register a company in any province under the same name. But again, we'll talk about it later. I don't think it's much of a benefit or drawback. So there's one more difference. With provincial incorporation, once you incorporate it, you submit the initial report where you inform the government of the actual directors and the officers of the corporation. And as you submit your tax reports, your accountant will do the update from now on. Those updates are free. You don't pay government anything to provide the information. With a federal incorporation, you have to provide annual updates on your corporation. You will get an email if you do it online that reminds you to provide an update on a corporate status within 60 days after the corporate fiscal year end or the end of the registration year. And you have to do it, and as you do it, you pay $20. So theoretically, within 10 years, your cost of federal corporation will equalize with the cost of provincial. Not so significant though. So I think if you don't have any real justifications, jump into federal. Faster, simpler, cheaper. When you do your tax submissions and reports, when you do your reporting, doesn't place too much of a burden. You still get those reminding emails, so it's not that you can forget about it. And again, with a named corporation, it gives you a protection all over Canada. Now, one more thing. When you work internationally as a exporter or online service provider, introducing your company as numbered Canada Inc. or just showing documents with Canada, not Ontario logos on it, can make a little bit difference, because people might not know what Ontario is, might not be too knowledgeable of the provincial versus federal systems in Canada. So when they see Canada, it affects them better. But again, not really significant. So difference behind service provider protection all over Canada. Now, one more thing. When you work internationally as a exporter or online service provider, introducing your company as numbered Canada Inc. or just showing documents with Canada, not Ontario logos on it, can make a little bit difference because people might not know what Ontario is, might not be too knowledgeable of the provincial versus federal systems in Canada. So when they see Canada, it affects them better. But again, not really significant. So if you would ask me, do federal, don't stop on provincial, cheaper, easier, and looks better. So that's more or less it. Follow us, we'll talk in the next video about the difference between named and numbered company, what protection does it give you, what it doesn't, and we'll move on. We'll move on to... Hi everybody, Eugene, Canadian Business Enterprise Services, CBES. Again, our website www.cbes.ca. We continue with a new topic. Short, simple, dry, but might be useful to some of you. And that's what's the difference between named and numbered company, and what numbered company is. So in Canada, as an welcome back everybody, to many other places in this world, you can literally okay. Okay, welcome back everybody, it's again me. Hi, welcome back. Again Eugene, again CBS, Canadian Business Enterprise Services. We continue with our series of educational, interesting, short topics relating to doing business in Canada, specifically in Ontario. And following our last video, I would like today to introduce the Hi everybody, Eugene, Canadian Business Enterprise Services. Welcome back everybody, CBS. Again Eugene, CBS, again our website www.services. We continue our series of informational, educational videos. We continue with a new topic, how to do it right. Short, simple, dry. One of the first questions I've been asked by many, and that's what's the difference between named and numbered company, and what numbered company is. So in Canada, as an opposite to... Hi everybody, Eugene, Canadian Business Enterprise Services, CBES. Again, our website www.cbes.ca. We continue with a new topic. Short, simple, dry, but might be useful to some of you. And that's what's the difference between named and numbered company, and what numbered company is. So in Canada, as an opposite to many other places in this world, you can literally register a company without a name. This option is open to anyone, not complicated, actually simplifies the process and saves you some money. So when you decide how to name your company and you have no name, or you don't want to use a name, or you want to use many names and you don't want to be limited to one name, which is odd but still a valid reason, you might want to register a company as a numbered. That is actually the default option in the registration systems, both federal and provincial, and look our video before, I talked about it already. So numbered company, is very simple. You don't need to do any prior steps. You just go directly to Incorporation, provide corporate information, director's address, and the system generates you a random number, and your company would have a name 1234567 Ontario Inc. or 123457 Canada Inc. I don't have any preferences. So some would decide to do numbered, and you still can register a name, by the way. In Ontario, there's a master business license system that allows you to register a name under existing corporation or person. We talked about it in the sole proprietorship video that you can search above. Costs $60, provides you registration for 5 years. Pay attention, it expires. So when you decide how to name your company and you have no name, or you don't want to use a name, or you want to use many names and you don't want to be limited to one name, which is odd but still a valid reason, you might want to register a company as a numbered. That is actually the default option in the registration systems, both federal and provincial, and look our video before, I talked about it already. So numbered company, is very simple. You don't need to do any prior steps. You just go directly to Incorporation, provide corporate information, director's address, and the system generates you a random number, and your company would have a name 1234567 Ontario Inc. or 123457 Canada Inc. I don't have any preferences. So some would decide to do numbered, and you still can register a name, by the way. In Ontario, there's a master business license system that allows you to register a name under existing corporation or person. We talked about it in the sole proprietorship video that you can search above. Costs $60, provides you registration for 5 years. Pay attention, it expires. So if you really don't have name and you cannot come up with one, you can register a numbered company. If you, on the other side, want to do a named company, that requires one additional step, and it could be sometimes complicated. So that step is nuance search, and the specific search and system that provides a comprehensive comparison of your name to existing companies and trademarks registered in Canada, and shows you whether you create confusion or, in a very simple ways, if you steal somebody's name. Again, look our previous video, federal versus provincial. Somehow, for unknown reason, in the federal system, you get nuance search for $13 in 2 minutes. In provincial, you will get it for $50 in 10 minutes. Why? I don't know, but that's the system. And that step is required to make sure that your name is unique. Once you registered your name and you got the nuance search, you can proceed to why? I don't know. Again, look our previous video, federal versus provincial. Somehow, for unknown reason, in the federal system, you get nuance search for $13 in 2 minutes. In provincial, you will get it for $50 in 10 minutes. Why? I don't know, but that's the system. And that step is required to make sure that your name is unique. Once you register your name and you got the nuance search, you can proceed to Incorporation, and instead of choosing the numbered company, you choose named company, you provide the name, number of nuance search, and move on. Simple. Now, what else can it give you? And we spoke about it in our previous video about provincial versus federal corporation. Name gives you very, very basic protection. And I don't want to fool you, and I don't want to mislead you, and I actually want to warn you. It doesn't protect your name, okay? If you registered a company named Apple Inc. and you did nothing else, it technically will not prevent me from using Apple Inc. name, without ink maybe, but for my product. Corporate name does not allow other people to register company with the same name, but it does not protect you as trademark does, and we'll talk about it later on in one of our videos. Follow us. But it gives you certain confidence that the name is registered under your company. You can use it with the banks, you can use it when you work, when you introduce yourself to clients. So it's important. Think about your name like with a child. That name might go with this company for many, many years forward. And you want it to be something that you confident, that you in peace with, that you will be using for many years to come. So the differences, minor, one step in the registration, $50 or $13, and some basic protection. If you have a name, better do it, don't leave it to a chance in the future. If you don't have a name, do the number. So I hope that clarifies a little bit the picture. Feel free to ask your questions in the comment section below. Follow us, subscribe. If you have some particular questions or you would like to have a little bit more detailed information, I would suggest to send the email through my website, www.cbes.ca. Just better for people not to see all your particular questions and my specific answers. And I'll see you soon with our next video. We'll talk more about corporation and developing your business. Thank you for being with us. See you soon. Hi everybody, welcome back. It's me again, Eugene from Canadian Business and Enterprise Services, and today we would like to discuss another topic of great interest and some confusion to our clients, and that is the business name protection available in Canada. In general, to protect your business, you have to make a proper registration and ensure that your competitors or other people do not use the name which is exactly like yours or too similar to confuse people to believe they're dealing with you when they deal with someone else. In general, there are different levels of name protection. Some of them gives you certain protection, others don't. That's what we'll discuss today. I'll show you what to do and how to do it right. And at the end of this video, I also will provide you a very small advice that hopefully will save you a lot of money in the future and will give you an opportunity to start your business in the most efficient, straightforward way without paying unnecessary fees. So first level of protection that we've discussed already is master business license. Technically, no protection whatsoever. The only thing that it gives you is the registration of your name with the provincial registrating body and allowing you to operate under different names than your initially registered corporate name or your personal name. It does not prevent anyone else from registering the same name for their businesses, their services, their products, their shops, stores. It will not give you any certain tools to stop others from doing that. Second level of registration and minimal protection is the provincial corporation named registration, where you register your name as a part of Incorporation. At that stage, no one else in the province of Ontario will be able to register.
Hey, this is Stefan from ProjectLifeMastery.com, coming to you guys from the beautiful island of Mykonos, which is in Greece. Many of you guys know that I've been traveling around Greece for the last few weeks with Tatiana, living the laptop lifestyle and trying to take advantage of the many amazing benefits that an online business can provide. And that's what I want to talk to you guys today about in this video, is how to build an online business, specifically how you can build an online business, and actually giving you guys some practical steps that you can take, steps that I took and still take to this day, that's allowed me to create financial abundance, that's allowed me to create an online business that gives me freedom to travel all over the world. And that's the biggest benefit that I believe that an online business can provide. Now, there's many different ways you can make money. I believe an online business is one of the best ways you can make money because you can use scale, you can use the internet and leverage technology, you can reach the entire world, the global impact that you can have. There's a lot of benefits to making more money, but really, even what money buys for you is freedom. You know, the more money that you have, it gives you the freedom to do what you want, when you want, with whomever you want, or you can also buy yourself more time because you can then outsource and hire other people to do the things in your life that you don't want to do. Maybe it's cleaning or cooking or whatever it might be, and you can really use money to leverage yourself. But the freedom to be able to be location independent, that you take your laptop, in my case, my laptop and my camera, and I can be anywhere in the world, and I can operate my business. And not only that, if I don't want to operate my business, I'm still making money because I've actually built passive income. And that's one of the other amazing benefits about it. So how do you build an online business? How do you create this freedom? Now, there's different business models out there that exist that can allow you to do this. I'm sure there's many advertisements, courses, trainings, resources, other videos that you've watched in the past. But I want to cover the practical how-to, but also a bit of the mindset components as well, because obviously building an online business, in order to do that, it's going to require certain habits, a certain mindset to become successful in your life, because it's no secret that success does not come easy to most. Some people it does. I know some people, for example, they're given the right opportunity and the timing is right and the success is very easy. It seems almost effortless for them. I'm sure you maybe seen people like that where seemingly the success came just like that. And there's different factors and different reasons why that might be. Their mindset, their habits, they've already got a lot of things going for them that made it easy for them. But for most of us, myself included, because it did not come easy for me, it took me many, many years of struggle and overcoming a lot of barriers and blocks that I had in my life. I want to address that because even if a lot of you guys are giving information on how to build a business and you're giving a step-by-step, well, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to succeed because it takes more than just a step-by-step. It takes more than just information to succeed. If that was the case, and everybody with the information, everybody that had access to YouTube and Google and even different courses and trainings and even university, all those people would be successful. So information, knowledge is not enough. It takes a lot more than that. And so I'm going to give you guys a few different steps that you guys can take. These again are the steps that I've taken in my life. Doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just my experience. And I'm going to share with you guys my experience, what's best for me, but also many other people that I've shared this with as well. Step number one. Okay, let's look at the big picture of things as well. Let's look at the macro, not necessarily the micro, because the macro, the bigger picture, is really the most important thing. Step number one is you first got to identify what online business do you want to create. What online business do you want to start? There's many different online business models out there that exist. You could sell on Amazon physical products, you could do drop shipping, you could publish books on a platform like Amazon, either Kindle books or paperback books. You could create information products. You could, for example, create online courses and training programs. You could even create content online like what I do right now with YouTube, and you can monetize videos, you can monetize your content, make money that way. You can create software, you can create tools online and sell those. You can create mobile apps, you can do affiliate marketing where you don't even have to create anything, and you just basically promote other people's products and you get a commission by promoting those products. So there's all these different models out there that exist, and I understand it can be a little bit overwhelming, it can be a little bit intimidating. It's like, man, which one do I do? They all seem like great opportunities. And the big mistake that a lot of people make is they try to do it all. And you gotta understand that you're not gonna be able to do it all, especially if you're brand new, because when you're brand new, there's a learning curve. Just like anything, there's a learning curve where you have to go through initially what I call the suck phase. And the suck phase is where you just suck at everything. You're not good. Some people are naturally good at things, other people they just have to go through the suck phase. I kind of compare it to learning any new skill. Like if you want to learn how to dance, I remember once I didn't know how to dance, and I was at a nightclub with my friends, and they got me out on the dance floor, and I sucked. I was embarrassed. They tried to get girls to teach me how to dance. I just felt I had to go through that embarrassment phase for a few weeks before I actually learned how to dance. Right now I'm learning Spanish, and I got a Spanish teacher that's coaching me, and I suck. I mispronounce things, I forget things, I say the wrong things at times, and it's embarrassing. It doesn't feel good to suck. But there, right there, what I shared with you guys, the ability to go through that phase, that right there is a key success habit. And hopefully you guys didn't miss that, because if you're willing to endure the suck phase, the learning curve, that's where most people give up. See, most people, they're not willing to suck. They just want to stay in their comfort zone. They just want to do what they're already good at, what they already know. And the challenge is, once you are successful at things, I believe you've always got to be a student. You've always got to humble yourself. And even though you might be successful in one area or two or three different areas of life, there's more to learn. And humbling yourself and having that ability and willingness to go through that phase, go through the learning curve from scratch is very important. But I digress. So pick one business model, maybe two if you can manage more. Okay, maybe more intermediate, more advanced, you can do a little bit more. It's really up to you, but you got to pick the one that's going to be right for you. Now, here's the thing. All these different online business models have pros and cons. There's a lot of great things about certain ones, and some have some negatives that go along with it as well. I think you got to identify what's going to align the most with number one, what you want. What is your ultimate vision, and why do you want to build an online business? These are questions you got to ask yourself before you even get started. Why are you going to do this? Because if you don't have a strong enough why, and you don't know what it's all for, then how are you going to go through the ups and downs you're going to have to go through? You're not going to go through the adversity and the challenges that you're going to face. Everyone's going to face them. But your why and your purpose for doing this is what's really going to pull you through that. So why are you doing this? Are you doing this so that you can quit your job? Are you doing this so that you can create freedom? Are you doing this so that you can give back and contribute to other people's lives? Are you just doing it because you want to make as much money as you possibly can? There's no right or wrong answer, but you got to know what that is. Because if you told me, Stefan, my number one motivator for building an online business is to get rich. I want to be a multimillionaire. Great, I can give you certain businesses that can allow you to make more money than others, but it might come at a certain cost. And maybe the cost is you're not going to be able to do what you love, right? You might have to pursue certain opportunity, and maybe you're okay with that, right? Some people are. Or maybe it's not going to contribute in the level that you might want to contribute, or as other business models could, or maybe it's not going to give you as much freedom as others can as well. Maybe, for example, you tell me, Steph, my goal is I want to help people. I want to make a difference in the world. Great, I can give you business models that can allow you to align with that and really allow you to be in an element of service and contribution to others. Or if you tell me, Stefan, I just want to build a business so that I can live a 4-hour work week. I don't want to put much time. I'm happy just to make a 6-figure, maybe a 7-figure income, but I want the passive income and I want the freedom. I'm more the kind of person that I don't really want to work that hard and work hard for long. I like to retire in the next few years, and I'm looking for an online business that can provide that, where it can run without me on autopilot, so that I can just kind of maintain it or manage it a little bit, but I don't want to have to be involved. I want to build something for that purpose. Or you might say, I want to build something so I can sell it, right? All these different factors come into play, and that's why I can't just tell you, and nobody can tell you that this is the right one for you, because everyone's different, okay? Now, I don't want to spend too much time going too deep with this, but I'll give you guys a resource to help you guys with this. I created an online quiz that you guys can take, where it takes like a minute, and you just answer a few different questions based on what your values are, what's important for you, why you want to build a business, and then after the quiz, I'll basically tell you based on your answers, what online business is going to be best for you, okay? Just to fast track things, take the quiz. That will help you identify the right business for you. You can take that by going to www.projectlifemastery.com/quiz, and I'll have a link in the description of this video for you guys as well, okay? So that's step number one, guys. Identify which business is right for you. And whatever business that you pick, you have to believe in it. in it. You have to go all in. You got to say to yourself, this is it. This is the business that's right for me. I believe in it. I believe in myself. I'm going to make it work. And you can't be, we'll talk about this later, the shiny object syndrome, where you're doing it, and then another opportunity comes along, and you're like, oh, this one seems a lot better than this one, I'm doing over here. And then you jump ship to this one, and then before you know it, there's another opportunity, another shiny object. You jump from this to that, and you're just jumping all over the place, and you never really master anything. So that's why I think it's important to find a business that aligns with your vision, your values, your purpose, what you want, okay? Step number 2. Whatever online business that you pick, the one that you're going to pursue, the one that's going to create the freedom for yourself, and again, they all work, okay? So even though there might be better opportunities out there, you can be successful with any of them, okay? Any of them. Number 2 is to get the help that you need in order to build your business. Okay? That might mean investing in a course, a training, some sort of program that's step by step, where people that have already been successful with this business, that have the experience, they've been through the trials and tribulations, they've been through the ups and downs, they've been through the failures, they've been at it for years and years and years and years, they've worked with hundreds or thousands of other people as well to be successful and achieve the results. Learn from them, guys. Don't try to learn things on your own. Don't think, well, I don't need to invest in myself. I'm just going to figure, I can just Google this or that and try to build a business. Only a fool thinks that way. Only someone that's willing to waste time, money, go through the stress. Why go through that if you don't have to? Hey, what's up, Life Masters? This is Stephen James from Project Life Mastery. Today I'm going to share with you what you need to know before starting an online business. Now, you're most likely here right now because you want to start an online business. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's promoting it to you and talking about how an online business can change your life. And I don't know what your purpose or your goal is. Maybe you want to create financial freedom, abundance, travel the world, be your own boss, live the laptop lifestyle, whatever you visualize and see in your mind that you want to move towards. I definitely think an online business is one of the most life-changing opportunities that we have in our lifetime. Our parents, our grandparents never before had this opportunity that we have with the internet, where anyone from anywhere can start an online business, whether that's selling on Amazon, e-commerce, Shopify, dropshipping, publishing books, courses, affiliate marketing, apps. There's so many opportunities, and I'll talk about that in this video. But first thing I want to say is that everyone that I've ever met, everyone is capable of building an online business. I've never met anyone that's not capable of it, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is built for it. Not everyone is willing to go through the journey that they're about to embark on. That in this video, my purpose is I want to best equip you for that journey if you are going to start on it. But not everyone's built for it. Not everyone is committed enough to the process of what's necessary with the ups and downs, the challenges, the difficulties, maybe even the failures that you might have to endure to ultimately get the lifestyle that you want. And this video, I want to shed light on that. I want to be transparent. I want to be honest. I want to share with you, this has been my career for over 10 years now, and I've worked with and coached thousands of people from all over the world. And as much as you see the people out there that are successful, their lives have changed, including myself and Tatiana and other people that I've shared and interviewed. You see people today, they're like 17 years old and in their 20s and 30s, and even people in their 60s and 70s, and people that from all different walks of life and demographics that have had their lives change as a result of building an online business. But just as much as there's success, there's just as much but more people that don't succeed, people that struggle, people that don't get to where they want to go. And that's like with anything in life, people, whether it's trying to change their body and develop a great physique or getting into a new habit or new interest, whatever it is. But I also want to kind of show you the other side and just kind of share with you what you have in store for you and what you can best do to prepare yourself and get the support so that if you are going to embark on this, then the best that I can do here in this video is just try to equip you, I guess, for that road ahead and to help support you in getting to where you want to go. And it's not that it's going to be easy or fast. For some people it might, but for most people it's going to be a challenge, and there's a lot you might have to endure to get there. So yes, an online business can change your life. Yes, I believe everyone is capable. What you can do is freaking amazing, but what people will do often can be a little bit disappointing. So success, I always believe that success is not as much a matter of ability, it's a matter of motivation and having that purpose and that why and wanting it bad enough. If you really want it bad enough and you refuse to give up and you learn from every experience, you can get there, you can be successful. I've not met anyone that hasn't with that right mindset going into it. But with that said, let's dive into this and let me shed some light for you. So first thing, there's a lot of opportunity out there online. Okay, you already know this. There's a lot of YouTubers out there. They're all talking about how to build a business online, and everyone's like a little bit biased on what their way is based on like what created the success for them. So if someone has success with Amazon, then they're going to tell you start selling on Amazon because that's what they know. That's their blueprint, their model of the world that got them to a level of success, and they paved that way and learned it, and you can learn that from them. Other people, it's affiliate marketing. Other people might be starting a YouTube channel. Other people might be a podcast, Instagram, dropshipping, publishing books, whatever it is. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and what I've learned, because I've been in this over 10 years now, and I've done most of these things that are out there, and I've actually had some success with pretty much all of them. Even having my own software, my own apps, a lot of things that you guys don't even know that I've done that I've had some good success with. Now, with that said, though. They all are effective and they all can work, but you have to find what is the best path for you. And sometimes you don't really know what the best one is until you try a few different things, until you kind of dabbled a little bit at the beginning, if you would, before you really commit to mastering one thing. And so they all work, they're all effective. And I think we all know this today. I remember when I got in this journey like over 10 years ago, there wasn't like YouTubers and podcasts and the things that are available today. Back then, there's a lot more skepticism because it wasn't as evident that you can like make money online. Today, I think we all know that. You see, there's thousands of YouTubers that are out there, they're making money from their YouTube channels. There's thousands of influencers out there on Instagram, they're making money from their Instagram account and podcasts, and people that are third-party sellers on Amazon and publishing. Like it's pretty obvious now that yes, you can make money online, build an online business. It's like there's not any reason to be skeptical of that today because there's like millions of people that are doing it and making a living from it. But with that said, when I first got into it, there was a lot of skepticism. People didn't understand. They thought it was crazy to start an online business. It's all fake. It's all scams. All of that. I had to kind of navigate those waters at the beginning. Today, the landscape's a bit different because there's all these people out there that are teaching this as well. And I think that's a good thing, by the way. I think it's great. For me, like I wouldn't have been able to build an online business if I didn't have teachers, and if I didn't have mentors, and if I didn't have people out there that were willing and open and had the courage to share themselves and put themselves out there and share their successes and their lifestyle and the possibilities. That all was inspiration for me. And I wouldn't have been able to go about this without that. Now, at the same time, just like with any industry, there's people that are good and there's people that are bad. There's people out there that are just trying to make money. There's people out there that are trying to scam you. There's people out there that are not authentic and genuine. And that's something you have to be aware of that exists more today. And with that, you really have to navigate that. You have to use your own judgment, determine is this person real and legit or not. And I think the benefit of like a YouTube or blogs or social media is it's more transparent today than before. Like before, when I got into this, there wasn't like people you could really follow much online. There was bloggers back then, but there wasn't like YouTubers and Instagram, Facebook, and things like that. Whereas today you can follow someone, you can get a sense of what they're about, who they are, and what, are you in alignment and agreement with what they're sharing with you? Does it make sense? Are you benefiting from it? And you can make an educated decision based on, like, yeah, this is the person that I want to model and learn from, and then these other people I don't want to, right? So I think that's a good thing, and we have to use our own kind of judgment, I guess, to determine that and look at the person's track record and the content that they put out. So that's a good thing overall. Now the other thing is there's a lot of courses out there too, and it seems like everyone's got a course, and I think that also can be a good thing too. Again, I learn from courses. I learn from other people that were willing to share their knowledge and their experience and package it in a product that I could pay them money for. In exchange, I'm benefiting from their knowledge, and I get to save myself time and money and learn from them in a faster way, more efficient way than what it normally take me to learn on my own. But at the same time, there's some courses that are good and some that are bad. I've been through both. I've been through courses that I've invested in, they're not that good. Others are great and have been life-changing for me and helped me a lot. And I'll talk a little bit about that too. But so these are just things you got to know. So there's people that they're teaching. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of courses out there. For me, the path that I took was learning from others and investing in trainings and courses to fast track the journey, to get there faster than I would ever on my own. And I think that is something that can benefit you. Now, I know there's some people out there that I guess kind of like put down people that have a course and things like that. And I don't think that's a bad thing, guys. I think you just have to use your own judgment to look at, like, yes, like really what I look at a course is a shortened learning curve. Okay, that's what you're buying. A course is not an end all be all. It's not like a course teaches you everything you got to know about business and success. It's not like a course can like guarantee you a certain result or anything like that. And I'll kind of give you some tips when it comes to investing in a course. One thing is you want to be wary of any claims that people make or guarantees, because it's actually illegal to do that. It's illegal to say that if you buy my course, you're going to make this amount of money in 3 months or 30 days or even in a year. You can never make any guarantees or any claims. Excuse me, because the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, they have certain rules and everything and certain laws that you can't do that. So whenever people say that and they make that guarantee or claim, that's something to avoid and be wary of. Every course, they're going to have testimonials, success stories, and that goes with any product out there. They're always going to try to show you their best success stories, people that benefited from it, people that actually put in the work and put in the time, followed it, and they applied it to the best of their ability to show you what's possible. And I think that's great too, right? That gives us belief and confidence and knowing that if they did it, then we can do that as well. But at the same time, they're not going to show you the failures of people that bought the course, that didn't do anything with it, that bought the course and half-assed their way through it and didn't follow the steps and all that sort of stuff, right? There's, again, people that don't succeed with every course too. And that's the majority of people as well. I remember, the same, it's unfortunate, but like the same thing I remember with books. I remember hearing about how less than 10% of people that buy a book even get past the first chapter. And that's people that unfortunately they just don't go deep enough with it, or they get distracted, or they get shiny object, and all these things that come up that prevent them from actually doing the work and going through it. So you got to know that going in, that there are teachers and courses, and there's ones that are good and some that are not as good. Make sure you be wary of any claims. If you're going to invest in a course, know what the course is. It's a shortened learning curve. It's not going to guarantee you anything. You got to put in the work. You got to put in the time. It's going to teach you things that you probably normally would take you a long time to learn on your own. You can learn on your own and go for it if you want to, but a course is really there to help accelerate that process and that journey. Okay, you got to do the work. You've got to really commit yourself to it if you want to see a level of success. Okay, so that was course. Another thing I want to mention too was scams. I recommend investigating people before you invest, and I'd also say too, like look for the testimonials, success stories. If you're really concerned, and you might have been scammed before, and I have as well, and I've learned from that, and I get better. And of course, not every course I buy and everything that I invest in is what I expect, and that is part of being a consumer on this journey. But one thing I'd say is that if you're really concerned, look for courses that have a 30-day money-back guarantee or some sort of refund policy. Because in the event that you decide, this is not legit, this is not what I want, then you can at least reach out to them and get a refund. And even if you want to reach out to their support beforehand, or also even pay through PayPal, because any course can pay through PayPal. PayPal can be a great level of protection, because if they have like a 30-day guarantee and they advertise that and they don't honor it within those 30 days, or their customer support goes haywire, they don't respond back, on PayPal you can file a dispute, and PayPal does support the buyers that buy through PayPal from scams or fraud or things like that. So that can be a precaution for you if you really are skeptical. You can, and you want to protect yourself, pay through PayPal, look for money-back guarantee, look for testimonials and things like that, and of course follow that person first to see and judge for yourself and use your common sense whether or not that person's legitimate and if you're in alignment with what they're teaching and who they are and what they're about. Okay, so that's with courses. I always think again that's one of the easiest and the fastest way to go about it. Now let's talk about this. Is it easy? Is it hard? For most people starting online business, I want you to know it's very hard. It's very challenging. Just like with anything that's brand new that you've never done before, that's foreign to you, there's a learning curve. Okay, the learning curve can be difficult for some. For some it can be easier. I'm always careful to say like it's hard and paint this picture that it's like this really hard journey, because it's not that case for everybody. There are some people that start an online business and it's actually kind of easy for them and they do really well. And for me it wasn't easy when I started, but today it is, because I just have the experience and I've been doing this for a long time. But here's an example that I can give you, kind of how I look at it. Everything in life, for some people, there's more naturally, they just do a better job at certain things than others. A simple example is math. I remember for me when I was in high school, I went to math class, and I was horrible at math. I was such a, I remember I could study all day, and I could do my homework and prepare and study for the test, and I even had to have tutors. I had to get extra help. I had to do, there's like 3 levels of math. There was like the regular math, the advanced math, and math essentials. I had to do the math essentials because I just couldn't keep up with the regular math. And I did all of that, and even then, I'd get like 51%. Like I barely graduated math class, and the only reason I think I graduated and passed was my math teacher, I think, felt sorry for me and just wanted to give me that extra 1%, 51% so I could pass. Other people, on the other hand, and we all know these people, and we all probably hate them, right? The people in school, that they didn't have to study, they don't have to do their homework. They show up, they do the test, they get like 100%. And it's like, it's crazy. It's like, how is it that they're able to do that it's just so easy and effortless for them? And that's kind of how I explain an online business. And there are some people out there, it is easy for them, and other people that it's not. Now, I'd say the majority of people it's not easy, especially if you have no experience in business, you've never been maybe successful in other aspects of your life, you have maybe disempowering habits and beliefs and mindsets that hold you back. If you have a lot of that going into a business, then it's going to be challenging for you. But I've always believed an online business is a great journey to embark on, because through the journey in setting these goals, it forces you to grow. It forces you to evolve beyond your current state of being. It forces you to overcome your limiting beliefs and your fears and to take action, to get outside your comfort zone, to contribute and add value to the world by creating a product or service or content that can benefit other people, because that's the only way you get followers and likes and subscribers and sales, is through that process of adding value. It forces you to grow and evolve and become more. And for me, I've welcomed that and I've loved that, because the journey I've been on, although it's been very difficult and challenging, what I'm most proud of is not success and money and things like that. It's who I've become and the lives that I've touched. For me, that's something that no one can take away. And it's something that'll always be a part of me that the new version, the better version of myself, Steph, and I can put forward into my fitness, my relationship, and other parts of my life, other difficulties because of what I've already endured and gone through. So I think that's a beautiful part of the process, that it should be hard and difficult. If it was easy, everyone would be successful. And if it was easy, then you'd have a bunch of people that are just entitled, that aren't really deserving of success, they didn't earn it, they didn't really contribute and add any value. And that's not the way it is. The universe rewards people that are persistent, that have perseverance, that are doing good and adding value. You can always try to make money in different ways and scam people, but you can get rewarded in the moment. It's not going to be sustainable or last, and it's going to eventually burn out, and you're not going to build a brand and something that's sustainable. So for some people, yes. For most people, actually, I'd say it is challenging. It's hard. Now, let me give you another example. I remember for me, about a year and a half ago, I wanted to learn Spanish, and I moved to Panama. And I was like, I want to learn Spanish. It's one of the goals that I have living in a new country. And so for me, just like with anything, I said, okay, I'm going to get a tutor because that's going to be a lot faster than trying to learn it on my own. And I started getting a bunch of these apps that could help me learn Spanish as well. And so, I meet with a tutor, and I'm learning Spanish, and sure enough, I'm learning how to pronounce these new words that I've never spoken before and trying to remember them and all this sort of stuff. And I did pretty good for maybe about a month. Okay, maybe about a month. And then what happens was I decided, I don't want to learn Spanish anymore, because what happened? Okay, pay attention now. I'm going to relate this to building a business. When I first got to learning Spanish, just like how you maybe first discovered online business, we have certain assumptions and beliefs maybe that, it's going to be easy and I can do this. And yeah, you see other people have done it and you're like, yeah, great, that's what's possible, that's what they can do, I can do that too, and I'm going to do it. But when you're first getting into something that you've never had any experience with, you're naive. You don't have any experience, you've never been through the journey yet. And so you start going through the journey, right? You invest in the course, you learn, you watch YouTubers, you do all these great things and start taking action. You start making some progress too. But you soon realize, it's not as easy as I thought, and then life shows up and all these distractions show up and you don't see results fast enough. And you realize and learn what it's really going to take for you to be successful at this. So for me with Spanish, I was making good progress, but I realized and learned, for me to really become fluent in Spanish, it's going to take at least a year. I'm going to have to spend time every single day doing this, doing the apps, practicing, go to my tutor, have them come over 3 times a week. I got to start watching TV shows in Spanish. I got to have conversations with people in Spanish and mispronounce things and embarrass myself and be humiliated and have people laugh at me and go through that learning curve. That's the learning curve. That's the process of what it would take to become fluent in Spanish. And if I did that for a year, yes, I believe, yes, I could be fluent in Spanish and speak it. But for me, once I went through the journey, I realized, I'm not committed enough to this. I don't have a strong enough why and purpose for this. When I look at the amount of time and effort put into it, I realized, I could put that time and effort into other parts of my life and get better benefit from. I could put that into my business. I could put that into my health, my relationships, and things I was just more committed to that I wanted more and had a stronger purpose for doing than I did to learn Spanish. And there's nothing wrong with it. I didn't get mad at my Spanish teacher and blame them because, I prepaid for all these sessions with them and I didn't get the result that I wanted. I didn't blame the apps. I can only blame myself and look at myself and say, Stephen, yes, you could have been successful with this and I could learn it, but I just had to look at myself and reevaluate what I wanted and what I'm really committed to. And I think it's the same thing in business. A lot of people, they start an online business, they dabble with it, and once they get into it maybe for a little bit, they decide, maybe it's not for you, or maybe you're just not ready for it, or maybe you're not willing to go through that journey that I shared with you of going through the challenges and developing those habits and confronting your demons and insecurities and building your confidence and putting in the time and even risking money. Maybe you're not committed to that, and you don't really know sometimes until you go through it a little bit and you try it. And I think if you at least try, you're at least further ahead than all the people that aren't doing anything. So I always acknowledge people that at least give it an effort and try for it. And if it's not for you, that's okay. For me, Spanish, I'd like to still learn it one day, but right now it's just not the time for me. And I'm okay with that. There's nothing, I don't need to beat myself up over it. I've just come to terms with that. So it's kind of similar with an online business. Is you got to decide, there is a journey, a learning curve, and it is probably going to be a lot more than you expect. For me, every goal that I ever set for myself in my business and my personal life always is more than what I actually think it's going to take in my head. Every project that I start, I always think, okay, I'm going to create this new website. I'm going to do it in 3 months. Ends up taking 6 months. Okay, I'm going to do this new thing in my business. I'm going to get down to 10% body fat, and I think it's going to do it in this amount of time. It always takes longer. There's always more to it than what we think, okay, and what we anticipate. So I think going into it knowing that, that's what I'm trying to share with you. Is just I'm trying to equip you to know and anticipate what you might go through as you start your business. And I think really the remedy for this, guys, when you're starting this, is you really got to get clear on why you want to build a business. What is your purpose and your reason for doing this? Your purpose and your reason, your why, is what will pull you past those difficulties that you're going to endure. It's what will get you motivated and excited to do this every single day, to push past the challenges that we all go through. Some people just want it more than others. Now, a lot of people, they say they want it, but they really don't. They want it if it's easy, they want it if it's convenient, they want it if it doesn't cost money, if it doesn't require time, they want it if it falls in their lap. But if you're like that, you're not going to do what it takes. You really got to know why you want this and the benefits it'll provide for your life. And for me, I had that. I really dug deep and said, I want this. I will do whatever it takes. I don't care how long I fail, how many mistakes I make, I will learn from it and I'll keep moving forward with this because I believed in my vision and the benefits of what this would provide for me. And I didn't want to give up because I knew the alternative. The alternative was going to school, working a job that I hate for the rest of my life until I'm 65 years old and one day retire. For me, that was painful. For me, my parents went to a bankruptcy growing up and that was so painful that I didn't want to go through that. I grew up not having much money when I was a kid, and I was motivated to one day I'm never going to have a kid and bring someone into this world until I'm set economically and I can take care of them because I don't want them to go through what I went through. I had a lot of pain and a lot of pleasurable benefits that motivated me to do whatever it took. So you got to find what is that why and that purpose for you. Do you want it bad enough and are you committed to it? And if you are, great. And if you aren't, that's okay too. We're going to find out, though, as you embark on the journey. Now, the other thing you're going to expect is that you're not going to see results right away. Okay, there's no get rich quick. Okay, as much as people advertise, they might advertise that to you. There are people out there that, yes, they have, and most of them are anomalies, right? They're very special people that maybe already had a business experience, timing, luck. There's a lot of factors that go into that. But for most people, it's going to be a period of time. You put in time, energy, even money, and you got to pay the price up front for success. Okay, a lot of people think, okay, well, when I'm successful, then I'll pay the price. No, that's not how success works. Up front, you got to pay the price of your time, effort, money. You got to step into the unknown. There's some risk associated with it, and you got to embrace all of that and be willing to go through a process of putting in effort and not seeing a result for maybe a month, 3 months, 6 months. Who knows how long? Everyone is different. Everyone is different. It's impossible to say for you it's going to be this and for you it's going to be that because everyone has their own journey. I know for me, I shared this story before. It took me like 3 years before I really made any sustainable income. I was just dabbling. I had so many fears and things I had to get through, and laziness and limiting beliefs and fears and scarcity mentality and all of these things that I had to work on before I was ready for the success of an online business. I made some money here and there and it didn't last. And okay, I built this up, made some money for like a month and then it stopped working. It was just frustrating, but I just learned from every part of that and trusted that this journey was just making me better. And that for me was like my saving grace, was just looking at who I was becoming along the way. The years that went by, I just was learning from every piece, and that laid a foundation for me when I did decide to really commit to like a project like mastery and do things. All that I've become and taken with me was able to benefit and serve me to create what I've created and to help build the success that I have. So for me, that came down to that purpose and that why. But you got to understand, for everyone it's different, and you might have to wait longer and all of that. Now, the other things I'm going to say to you. You got to make sure that you dedicate the time to this. Everyone might take more time than others, depending on what you're doing. The more time you put in, the better. Okay. But at the same time, don't let that be an excuse. Most people are starting their business. They're doing it on the side part-time. You might have a 9 to 5. You do it in the morning. in the morning before you work, or maybe you do it when you come home from work. But either way, you got to dedicate the time to it, and you've got to make this important for you. You got to take this seriously. You got to say to yourself, you know what? This is like a second job, and it's more important than my current job, because my current job, yes, it provides for me, but my second job, my online business, is going to create me the freedom, the life that I want. It's going to take me to the promised land. My existing job's not. So you have to prioritize it and treat it as such. It's not just a hobby. This is serious. You got to show up every day and commit the time to it as if you had a boss that's riding your ass that's going to fire you if you don't show up and work on your online business. That's how serious you got to put this. So a lot of people, they don't take it seriously enough. They don't dedicate the time to it every week, every day if necessary. I recommend a few times a week, maybe on the weekend, dedicate a day to it. But part of getting what you want is what you have to give up. It's being willing to sacrifice a bit of today for tomorrow's betterment. And the same thing goes with money too. Okay, yes, there are ways you can build a business without money. It ends up taking so much longer though. It can be more challenging. Money though can be useful to get courses and education, tools and software that can help build your business much faster than just having time will give you. So money is important, and for a lot of this, you might have to work your butt off at your job, cut back on your expenses, take some of that money and invest it in your business or your education and move faster. Okay, so that's a part of it too. And you might go through a course, you might learn something from it that helps you, great. And then you're looking to always be learning. That's not the end all be all. You keep investing in courses and trainings and learning as much as you can to continue to learn, but also you got to apply and do and take action with what you're learning. Okay, so that's the process. You learn and then you do. You learn and you do. I have a ratio for every 3 hours learning, I spend 1 hour taking action. A lot of people get too caught up in learning. They get analysis paralysis, information overload, and it prevents them from doing anything. I believe you gotta know, but you also gotta do. Knowing is not enough. You gotta do what you know. And so that's part of the journey that you're gonna go through as well. So I've shared a lot with you. I don't want to ramble on too much, but hopefully this video can help.
We often get asked about the benefits of having a holding company. Should I have a holding company? And if so, why do I have one? Or do I need one? Or should I get rid of one? Well, these are all great questions. So let's start with a discussion of what is a holdco in the first place. A holdco doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't produce any goods or provide any services. It primarily exists either to hold shares of another operating company or to hold investments, such as a portfolio of marketable securities. The first common use of a holdco is where a holdco is interposed between the owner of the company and the active operating business. This allows profits to be flowed up tax-free via dividends and retained in the holding company until the business owner needs the money personally. The second use of a holdco is to simply hold investments. Those investments could be marketable securities or could be a portfolio of rental properties. And again, that income is then kept inside the holding company till needed and ultimately paid up to the individual ultimately as a dividend. There are a number of benefits of using a holdco, as discussed in our latest report called Hold the Holdco. The first one is asset protection. The legal structure by which you hold your assets is obviously critically important. And using a holdco for various assets like investments means that typically they may not be accessible by the creditors of the operating company. Another reason for using a holding company is the timing of compensation, namely dividends, because a holdco can effectively allow you to retain income inside the holding company, which is paid up by the operating company, and then defer paying it out to yourself until a later point in time. Number three, it may be a benefit to have U.S. securities held inside of a holding company simply for U.S. estate tax planning purposes. If you own U.S. shares when you die, those are considered to be U.S. cited property and holdco in the first place. A holdco doesn't actually do anything. It doesn't produce any goods or provide any services. It primarily exists either to hold shares of another operating company or to hold investments, such as a portfolio of marketable securities. The first common use of a holdco is where a holdco is interposed between the owner of the company and the active operating business. This allows profits to be flowed up tax-free via dividends and retained in the holding company until the business owner needs the money personally. The second use of a holdco is to simply hold investments. Those investments could be marketable securities or could be a portfolio of rental properties. And again, that income is then kept inside the holding company till needed and ultimately paid up to the individual ultimately as a dividend. There are a number of benefits of using a holdco, as discussed in our latest report called Hold the Holdco. The first one is asset protection. The legal structure by which you hold your assets is obviously critically important. And using a holdco for various assets like investments means that typically they may not be accessible by the creditors of the operating company. Another reason for using a holding company is the timing of compensation, namely dividends, because a holdco can effectively allow you to retain income inside the holding company, which is paid up by the operating company, and then defer paying it out to yourself until a later point in time. Number three, it may be a holdco for various assets like investments means that typically they may not be accessible by the creditors of the operating company. Another reason for using a holding company is the timing of compensation, or called Hold the Holdco. The first one is asset protection. The legal structure by which you hold your assets is obviously critically important. And using a holdco for various assets like investments means that typically they may not be accessible by the creditors of the operating company. Another reason for using a holding company is the timing of compensation, namely dividends, because a holdco can effectively allow you to retain income inside the holding company, which is paid up by the operating company, and then defer paying it out to yourself until a later point in time. Number three, it may be a benefit to have U.S. securities held inside of a holding company simply for U.S. estate tax planning purposes. If you own U.S. shares when you die, those are considered to be U.S. cited property, and that could be subject to U.S. estate tax depending on the value of your estate. By using a Canadian holding company to own U.S. cited property, you may be able to avoid having to pay U.S. estate tax on death on the U.S. cited property held inside the holdco. There are a variety of other reasons discussed in our report as to why someone might use a holding company, such as for a mergers and acquisitions activity, or a future sale of the business, or even in the context of an estate freeze. The second area that we often get asked about when it comes to holding companies is, should I incorporate my investment portfolio? To answer that question, we really need to come back to the concept of integration. In other words, would I actually pay more or less tax on my investment income if that income was earned in a corporation or earned personally? As figure one in our latest bulletin, Hold the Holdco, shows, in every province in Canada, there is a tax cost of earning investment income inside of a Canadian holding company versus earning that same income personally. There's no immediate corporate tax on Canadian dividends provided they're paid out the same year. But in essence, what this chart shows is that in most cases, it doesn't really make sense to have a holding company. That being said, will there be a tax deferral? In other words, is there some flexibility in timing? As we said earlier, using a holdco when we have investment income can allow us to defer paying tax on that income. Again, if we take a look at figure 2 from our report, you can see that pretty much every province there's actually a prepayment of tax as opposed to a deferral. And even in the few provinces where there is a slight deferral, those amounts are relatively small. So in a nutshell, I would say be careful when it comes to incorporating an investment portfolio. There's a limited application. In most cases, unless you've got money already in there from the sale of an operating company or maybe moved up there from the operating company, holding an investment portfolio inside of a holdco generally does not make good financial sense. comes to holding companies is, should I incorporate my investment portfolio? To answer that question, we really need to come back to the concept of integration. In other words,
Okay, I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna end this stream. It was about an hour long, an hour and 20 minutes or something, and we'll continue on another stream. But I'm gonna continue learning about this holding company stuff, because the reason why I was watching Stephen James is because he said that he had a holding company which protected him from taxes. But I'm thinking in my head, like, I don't know if all this is necessary, especially in the beginning stages, because I'm not even really making any money and I don't have an audience. So maybe this is something I want to do when I start making more profit, like maybe like $1,000 or more dollars. But yeah, I think I should probably be focusing on making content, like making good content that people want to watch. But I should finish this research just so that it's set aside and I did it already. Um hmm. Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. Just lowering the volume a little bit. Yeah. Okay, that's a test. Oh, it's going into yellow. Maybe I should lower it down a bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna end this stream. Probably stream a little bit later because I want to play some video games.